Dr. Aqsa Sheikh, the nodal officer at HAHC Hospital, joins us. While her efforts have been commendable on the front lines, she actually jumped at the opportunity of taking up the responsibility of a vaccination center nodal officer, seeing it as a chance to create awareness about alternate genders and identities. While she is a true inspiration as the country's only transgender person to head a COVID vaccination center in India, by no means has the journey been a cakewalk for her. It included leaving her family in Malad, in relocating to Delhi, before she could finally transition from being Zakir Hussain to Aqsa Sheikh in 2013. Dr. Sheikh, welcome to NDTV. You've been on the front line and you've had COVID as well. In your opinion, who has emerged as the most promising vaccine candidate?
First of all, thanks, Parmeshwar. It's really nice to connect with you over here. Yes, there has been this great journey of from being in the COVID ward to getting the COVID shot on the first day, that is on 16th of January. And while we are having multiple candidates now, I think the people need to have faith in the vaccines and take up whatever dose they are getting. A huge amount of research and effort has gone in developing these vaccines in such a short span of time. So I would say we should not really bother as to which vaccine candidate is better, but simply get the shot if you're eligible.
Spoken as a true medical professional there, Dr. Sheikh. I just wanted to ask, have you or have your patients encountered any level of mistreatment while seeking healthcare in our country?
When it comes to the trans persons, I guess the access to the healthcare is a structural barrier that we have been facing, whether pre-COVID times or during the pandemic times. That's something there. And in the pandemic, naturally, these barriers have only become exaggerated. But then I think it's the responsibility also of people like me, to lead from the front, use our lived experiences and to create space for other trans folks of the community.
Also, the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment has constituted the National Council for Transgender Persons under the Transgender Persons Protection of Rights Act 2019. Now, one of the features of this act is that representatives from 5 states or union territories, which essentially means one each from the north, south, east, west and northeast regions, on a rotational basis. Do you think this is practical? And more importantly, does this do justice to representation?
When it came to the Transgender Act, which was passed in 2019, and then the rules came in 2020, the trans community was not really happy with the provisions of the act and how, it was rolled out in the parliament in spite of opposition by the trans community. But we have the act now, we have some kind of protection. We have also a national body which is in place. I think, there are these finer grievances can be tackled later on. Right now, the trans community needs to come forward, make use of this legal protection that we have, make full use of the community's potential, and surge forward.
Also, Dr. Sheikh, in your opinion, have any governmental and private institutions addressed the disparities in the healthcare systems? Any particular initiatives that have asserted an impact to ease access for transgender and non-binary people? When
it comes to most of the government or the private hospitals, we do not really expect them to make special provisions for making the access to the trans patients better. But when it comes to the centers providing gender affirmation services to the transgender persons, then we have some very good examples, where there have been enabling environment has been created so that the trans people can access services. But I think more and more trans people need to visit all the hospitals, speak out against the discrimination, demand their rights, and only then, the changes will happen. No one is going to serve it on a platter to us.
Sure. Dr. Sheikh, it's been a pleasure to talk to you. You're a true inspiration, and it serves as a reminder that the rates of suicide attempts, poverty, unemployment and violence must serve as an immediate call to action, and their reduction must be a priority. Now, despite policy improvements like you highlighted,
Absolutely.
Over the last several years, it is clear that there is still much work ahead to ensure that transgender people can live without fear of discrimination and violence.